So West Ham had dropped down another place in the Premier League on a day that we didn't play. I guess it was bound to happen. West Ham were looking for hopefully Brighton to lose and, of course, Newcastle to lose. Well, Brighton lost. That was quite an intense game, actually. And I was very, very impressed with Brighton. Has to be said, but they lost their sort of last gasp winner, wasn't it, at Tottenham there, really? And obviously Newcastle, that was a humdinger, 3-2 against Nottingham Forest. But West Ham are down into 8th. I guess we couldn't have had it both ways. I mean, it was almost the worst of both worlds for West Ham in terms of the Newcastle game, because Newcastle won, which put them above us, but also Nottingham Forest played well, and they're our game next week. We're in a little bit of an interesting situation. So we were 6th. We've obviously we've lost. We've dropped down to 7th. Now we're down to 8th. Could have been worse. Obviously, we could be down to 9th. But it does look like we're dropping. Our form does not look good. 1 win in the last 5. If we don't win tomorrow, it'll be no wins in the last 5. So in terms of the Premier League form table, we're poor. We're very, very poor. Unfortunately, we got enough points on the board that even dropping down, if we were going to start to win. Even if we could lose against Arsenal, basically, and then if we went on a little losing run, and we've got some hopefully easier games coming after that, then we can move back up the league quite easily, I would think, if we can win those games and be back in contention and finish the season in contention for the European places. But I do think the story and the narrative around the West Ham sort of leadership, if you want, in terms of David Moyes, is opening up. It's been a really, really hot topic, and I don't want to overly discuss it too much because, you know what, it's been done to death. And it's one of the reasons that I'm a little bit nervous ahead of the game against Arsenal. It has to be said, not just us losing, but what could happen in terms of the fallout after us losing. Yeah, look, I'll go back to Rio Ferdinand again and point at the camera. West Ham fans, what do you want? What do you want? And, because a lot of people are saying, well, what more do they want? West Ham are in 6th. I mean, we've seen it before. And then it's, well, West Ham, what do you want? You're in 7th. West Ham, what do you want? You're in 8th. And, well, how long does that go on for? Look, we're still in Europe and it's still a pretty good season. I think that the point of the matter is there's a lot of frustration from fans because, once again, we found ourselves in a situation where we could have pushed on. We could have strengthened in this transfer window. We've decided not to. And very much we have decided not to. It's interesting, there have been more recent leaks from the club within the last 2 or 3 days, and the clubs are very much saying, Tim Stuyton was offering David Moyes players, but Moyes rejected them. Moyes turned them down. Again, I feel a little bit of throwing Moyes under the bus there. But look, even if you don't mind David Moyes being thrown under the bus, you must surely concede, well, why are they doing that? And why are they doing that now? And you must surely be concerned that the club seemed to swing from one set of indecisions to another, really. They were heralding him, they were lauding him not too long ago. He's definitely getting a new deal. We're not even going to wait until the end of the season. We're going to give him a new deal now. And the narrative very, very quickly is them leaking stories saying, well, Stuyton was trying to give him players. He didn't want any players. Didn't want to take any players. I don't like it. Has to be said. I do not like it at all. I would almost prefer the club to be very, very clear in their thinking whether or not that was, no, we're going to leave it till the end of the season, then we're going to replace him and get a new manager, or he's our guy and we're going to, we're going to back him. We're going to stick with him. When the hierarchy are indecisive, then I do think the club's in a little bit of a problem. And I don't think stories like Saïd Benrahma leaving and saying, it's much more professional here and the training's very intense and all that type of stuff. Look, firstly, he's not the only person to say it. Declan Rice has said it. But I also, I think with Saïd Benrahma, he's got a bit of an axe to grind. I've had a lot of sympathy for him. I really have. But, he was never the most popular guy with David Moyes. So I'm sort of not surprised he's gone and stuck the boot in a little bit. It's also at odds with what Kevin Nolan was saying a couple of days ago. If you heard Kevin Nolan on TalkSport, he was saying, the players are weighed every day and, we monitor everything. And just everything Kevin Nolan was saying didn't sound like a training regime that was stuck in the dark ages. It sounded like a very, very modern training regime. Maybe Saïd Benrahma was talking about some of the drills, maybe some of the work with the ball. Look, I guess, was there going to be any surprise there? We just know if David Moyes is doing any drills, then they're probably going to be defensive drills. And I think the other thing is, I think for a lot of the season, we probably haven't trained so much. I reckon when we're playing on a Thursday and we're playing on a Sunday, there's going to be a rest day in between, and we're probably only doing 2 training days a week. you're probably not going to be doing as much as maybe some other clubs. Maybe not. But look, it takes us to Arsenal, and I'm concerned. I just think there's so much pressure on, I think, Mohamed Kudus and Jarrod Bowen to win us that game. And it sort of has to be them. I do think Ward-Prowse is going to come good again at some point this season. I do. I think there's going to have moments. I think he's going to have assists from corners. I think there's big moments there, even for Thomas Souček, who I think has been really poor. He started off the season well. He's a really poor run of form, but I don't think it helps. I think the manager asks him to do things that he's not capable of doing. But I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater with Thomas Souček. I still think that there's a moment. I really do. I feel there's a moment for Thomas Souček this season, an important moment, important winner, a rescue act, something, a dominant performance. I just think he's got a part to play in this season's story. I really do. I was looking at these statistics actually from basically got this website called sofascore.com, and it's. I'll put the link in the description below. I'm not here to overly publicise that. I'll talk about it in another video. Basically, we've got this sponsorship with this company, and it's a sort of dumbed down. I'm pretty bad with statistics and all the rest of it. So Gio said, "Yeah, look, we've got this new sponsor coming up. Get your head around this this app." Anyway, it was just a dumbed down version of statistics. And I was looking at all this stuff, and it was quite incredible, really, looking at some of West Ham's stats on there, and it was. I'm not sure. We don't always play to our strengths. And looking at the stats, we should be about 11th in the league, right? We should be about 11th. Now, there's this big paradox there, which is basically we are one of the best in the league from corners. We're dangerous. We're really, really deadly. But we are 17th in the league at getting corners. So we have this. Honestly, we have the third least corners in the league. The third least. But we're really, really good at them. And we've got this guy, we've got James Ward-Prowse in the team. And I just think, what's going on here? Surely we should be creating a situation where we're getting more. That heaps so much pressure, I think, on the forward players to be hitting shots and getting corners. It's a really weird one. I've said before, look, I'd rather not play the type of football we're playing. But if we are, then play it. Play it in the best way possible. If what you want to do is you're going to say, OK, we're going to rely on this tactic of getting corners, and you're going to have to shoot. You're going to have to be getting shots. We have one corner in the first half against Man U, something like that. I'll tell you what was prevalent, though, looking at the stats against Man U, was we had more shots than them overall. It wasn't a bad performance. And I do wonder, David Moyes is going to have to, without a Paquetá, with apparently, despite all the talk of Mikel Antonio sort of being ready, he ain't going to be starting the game. You're going to have Ben Johnson in there again, and maybe he's going to have a wing role. He did well, but you can't rely on it. And I do think, and whilst I thought we were good, there were good moments. We were good in the first half against Manchester United. We're not about to play Manchester United. We are about to play Arsenal when they are so much better than Manchester United. So much better. I'd love to think we can beat them for a third time this season. I'd love to. I really would. And who wouldn't? It'd be absolutely brilliant. And because, believe it or not, I don't want the fallout of all this crap afterwards. But I do think if we do lose it, there's going to be this. There is going to be a fallout afterwards, because there's no way that you could possibly look at the league and not see that we were on a downward trajectory. And at that point, you're asking, can these guys come back and help us? We're desperate for Lucas Paquetá, and I don't think we're a one-man team. I really don't. We are not a one-man team. But I think we're probably a four-man team, but which is fine. There's a lot of teams who would be in that sort of situation. But I do think without him, we just struggle. We really, really struggle. We're desperate to get him back. Anyway, so look, we'll see you later on, hour and 5 minutes before kickoff. Oh, before I go, if you're a patron, by the way, you make sure you get your predictions in. Go over to Patreon, get your predictions in. If you're an addict, you've got a chance. So actually, somebody won last week. Who was it? Who won last week? It was Raymond. Raymond won last week, didn't he? If you can win this week, so basically do the prediction, predict the scoreline and that stuff. And this week, if you're an addict, you can win a signed Lucas Paquetá shirt. If you are, so I've got it written down here. If you're a mild addict or you're a Hammers Chat member, then it's an signed Areola shirt. It doesn't got to cost you anything. If you're a patron, you're there anyway. But just we want you participating. We want to give this stuff away. So make sure you go over to Patreon. sign in as you normally would on Patreon and just put your prediction in for the game. Gio's already made the thread. Go and sign in for that. Yeah, sorry, almost forgot to remind you of that. Okay, I'll see you an hour and 5 minutes before kick-off tomorrow.